Welcome to another edition of ATL Prime Sports. I'm JJ Jurjevich. Joining me this evening is the fabulous producer, Wayne Ridenauer, up in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. You can find us all at ATL Prime Sports. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We're on Apple and Spotify. Give us a review, give us a like, give us a subscribe, whatever you do. Retweet, like on Facebook, react, are they calling it now? Whatever it is, it's at ATL Prime Sports. Personals, I'm at JJ Get You One, at RWY Jr. for Wayne, and at Corder Todd for TC Todd Corder, who is out tonight. Wayne, how you doing, man?
Well, it's springtime, and that means baseball and NASCAR, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, NASCAR. They Easter Sunday did the dirt track in Bristol, which is pretty cool. Brought a ton of dirt in, covered it up. I know they're about to repave Bristol, I believe, so that's why they brought in the dirt. I thought it was a pretty cool aspect for a short track. I'm doing great, Wayne. About as well as the glorious new Mets dugout, the Sensory Nook. The Nook is designed to help those with ADHD, autism, dyslexia, escape from the emotions and excitement of the game. Every arena and stadium should have this added immediately. This is a great way for, again, ADHD, dyslexia, autism, anybody that gets a little overwhelmed with the excitement of the game, get away, get a little quiet time, or maybe if you even, like myself, have a young daughter, young son, get them out of the heat, get them out of the cold, get them out of the elements, and just get them quiet and calm down a little bit. So I think every stadium should adapt that. What's on tap for today? We have Chris Anderson and Eric Langernecker of the Patriot Sports Podcast. They join us talking a little chop, aka Atlanta Braves, NFL draft, and of course the NBA playoffs are right underway. Let's go ahead and get to it. We got our guest, the producer and the host of Patriot Sports Podcast. You can find them on Twitter at Patriots Pod. We have Chris Anderson, the producer, and Eric Langernecker of at American DGen and then at PSR Producer. Those are their Twitter handles. They joined the show. Chris, Eric, welcome to ATL Prime Sports. How you guys doing?
Excellent. I feel welcome. How about you, Christopher?
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, guys. This is amazing.
Well, yeah, this is great to have you guys on. We've been collabing on Twitter, folks. Again, Wayne will put the Twitter feeds up of both you gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get into it. That NFL draft is next week. I'm super excited as a Falcons fan. I got my gear on. We're in rebuild mode. Let's see what the other parts of the country are talking about. That's why I got the Patriots Pod, guys. All right, guys, I'll just start out. You guys go in any order. Just shoot off the hip. Give me a name under the radar that you believe will make an immediate impact in this fall season and this draft.
You go, Chris.
Sammy Watkins. I joke. I kid. Worst pickup of the offseason. I think we're probably going to go. I'm hoping that we go receiver right out the gate. I mean, that's my hope. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a DB or an O-line. Eric, what are you thinking?
I think I hope we go wide receiver. I don't trust this team to take a wide receiver in the first round, though. I think the last time we did that was Javon Walker out of Florida State back in, I don't know, around 2000. We like to take a DB that's, short in the first round, maybe, or trade out of the spot, whatever. But I'm hoping we go receiver. I'd like to see maybe Olave, but I worry the Saints are going to go get him. They like their Ohio State guys. They might jump us. I'm not sure if we're going to have to move up. If we will move up, we're not really a team that's willing to make moves.
And for our listeners here, tell our listeners what team. I know you guys are who you're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The Green Bay Packers, the stalwart of the NFC North.
We are coming to you live tonight from Hartford, Wisconsin.
Yes, we're good, but we're boring. We're consistently pretty okay.
We're always in it. We're always a conversation. You can always drink a beer after a win, but it's never exciting. There's never any.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. I think wide receiver or a defensive back on the other side. I'm with you on that. Green Bay Packers. Maybe the other guy from Cincinnati. I know you have Sauce Garner. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He may be a late round guy that you guys could get, someone like that. But there's a lot of defensive players in this draft. On the offensive side, it's mainly just wide receivers and offensive linemen. I'm not really too high on any quarterbacks in this draft, which will bring me to my second
No.
question of the day for both of you guys. Which of the highest rated QBs is drafted first in the first round?
I think Malik Willis. I think the buzz around Malik Willis is going to entice these teams on draft day. Everybody gets a little too excited. They think the other guy is going to overplay their hand, and they convince themselves they like their guy more than they actually do, or they worry that another team does. And I feel like in the offseason, the way Tomlin freaked out about him, at his pro day, he got a lot of pop. And I think that's going to carry over on the draft day when the nerves hit.
I like the pick. I do. I think it's going to be Kenny Pickett. The ability to extend plays.
I think that's the right choice.
And Malik Willis may have that higher ceiling, but if we're going first round quarterback and I'm a GM, I want a sure product. But again, I revert back to saying if I am a GM this year, I don't know if I'm taking a quarterback in the first round. I might wait till next year's class when you have Stroud out of Ohio State, Bryce Young, and I'm a Georgia guy. I think JT Daniels can make a team happy later in the rounds. You may want to stick around and see what he does at West Virginia, folks. So I think this year's class, quarterback class especially, I'm not going to say it's weak because quarterbacks, there's always one diamond in the rough. We'll go to our third question with you fellas. Guys, who is the overall best player in this draft? There's a bunch of BAs in this draft. There's just a bunch of studs. You got Jermaine Johnson. You got Aiden Hutchinson, Walker out of Georgia, Nakobe Dean out of Georgia. Who's the best player in this draft?
Personally, I think it's Trayvon Walker. That's the man of the draft. That's the grown man from Georgia. That whole Georgia line. I watched them a lot this year because it was an NFL line. It looked like an NFL line when they stepped out there. The product was beautiful to watch. It was like watching a Sunday product on Saturday. I love what you guys have going on down there with the dogs. You guys, your recruiting is off the chart. I'm sure OU is nervous to come in there, and Texas. I'm a Big 12 guy. I'm from Oklahoma. I live in Wisconsin now, but I've been following that pretty close. Those are grown men down in Georgia. Y'all build them different.
Yeah. I was going to say Trayvon Walker, so I'll say Jordan Davis. As far as guys that I love to watch play football, it's not often a tackle that does it, but that guy, I heard somebody compare him to Shaq. He's like Shaq in cleats. It's
unbelievable.
It's crazy what that man does.
Watching what 99 did all season and being close as we are down here, and obviously you see I'm a Georgia fan off the air. It was unbelievable. This guy's a freak athlete. I do think he's one of the better players in the draft. But if I'm answering this question, I think the best player in this draft is I don't know if it's Aiden Hutchinson or Trayvon Walker, but I'd say it's one of those two. I think you could put Jordan Davis in there. There's so many guys. I personally think I really, really like Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State, speedster. I think he could be a perfect fit for my Dirty Birds at 8 with no wide receivers. Really on the roster with the lack of Calvin Ridley. And if you're really going to toss to Olamide Zaccheaus with Marcus Mariota, good God, we could go 0-17. So I think Garrett Wilson's a great player. Let's switch subjects from the NFL draft. Let's go NBA playoffs, folks. Guys, you're up there in Wisconsin. I think I know who's going to be your NBA Finals prediction. I got the Bucks in there. What's your NBA Finals prediction, fellas?
Bucks and Golden State. That's what I think. What do you got, Eric?
Yeah, I think the Bucks get back there. I think Philly's coming together, but I don't see a team in the East that's going to beat Milwaukee. I had a rematch with Phoenix, written down in pencil, but now Golden State is really coming on. Steph Curry came off the bench. I think that sent a message to the team that, he's bringing his lunch pail and it's time to go to work and let's do what we do in the playoffs. So I'm pretty worried about them. I think it's either going to be Phoenix or them. And with the hamstring now for Booker, I think I give the edge to Golden State to get there.
I agree with that. And Wayne, do you have a comment real quick on any of these questions?
Well, as far as under the radar, I think that Desmond Ritter from Cincinnati is under the radar. Matt Corral, I think, is probably going to be the first quarterback get picked. That's mainly because I'm too close to Oxford not to pick him. And as far as the best player in the draft, Jameson Williams from Alabama, wide receiver.
And Jameson Williams, after the injury against Georgia, I do think he is a underlying player in this draft. That injury is going to cost him a couple spots in the draft. Wayne, those are all great points, guys. Let's go to the final.
I'm also picking Boston Memphis in the NBA final.
Oh, that's
outside the box.
Feisty.
Outside the box. I like it. All right, guys.
On Twitter.
And again, you're listening to ATL Prime Sports right here. I'm JJ Jurjevich. We have Wayne, and we have the fabulous duo of Chris Anderson and Eric Langernecker of Patriots Podcast. You can find them at Patriots Pod on Twitter. Guys, Major League Baseball is well underway. We're 2 weeks in. We thought we weren't going to have it for a long time. Give me your favorite storylines from the opening couple weeks of the season. We'll go around. You two first. I'll go to Wayne, and then I'll tell you one for the fun of it.
I mean, I hate to be negative, but I love how Garrett Cole is completely fallen apart without the sticky stuff. I love to watch it. The man could not get an out yesterday. It was amazing to watch.
It really has been a transformation watching him go from being able to use the sticky stuff to not. I saw a meme circulating around. We all heard the San Diego Padres are the first to crumble. They're going to get a Motorola patch on their jersey starting next year. And I saw the meme rotating around. The Yankees should get spider tack right here. So I thought that was funny. That's a great storyline. You're absolutely correct. Go ahead.
I got Christian Yelich slamming a grand slam. I thought I was going to get to say Rowdy Tellez up 2-1 on Matt Olson on our little podcast to podcast home run bet, but I think are they tied 2-2 right now?
I think so. Olson's got 2, I believe, and
Rowdy's got 2.
He's a good old Georgia boy playing on his home team, so we're happy down here for that. Wayne, your favorite storyline from the opening weeks of Major League Baseball?
Well, a lot of people that I had talked to had a lot of doubt in St. Louis, but I think they've pretty much squelched all that doubt, and so that to me is the best part of the season so far.
Yeah, you got a bunch. You got Miguel Cabrera, who's almost at 3,000. I think he's at 2,999 as we speak, as it's going down.
Yeah.
Albert Pujols is a great story. The chase for 700.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to go with the Cleveland Guardians. Got to get you saying Guardians. But yeah, it's the Cleveland Guardians, and it's their young outfielder, 24-year-old Stephen Kwan. The 5th-round pick out of Oregon State, reached base 18 times in his first 5 games. And, guys, that's the most in over 100 years. He hasn't swung and missed a lot. It was 116 straight swings without a miss.
That stat blew me away.
Yeah, it blew me away. I mean, it's the most ever since 2000. That's got to be my opening storyline. Stephen Kwan. The Guardians are one of the lowest payroll teams in Major League Baseball. Yep. Somehow Terry Francona gets those guys playing. Doesn't matter who's on his team. And this is a prime example of that. That's my favorite storyline. Any final thoughts on any of the topics, guys, before we let you get out of here?
Guardians put up 10 in the first 2 innings today, so payroll isn't everything.
Nope.
Payroll is not everything. We know that. Look at the Oakland A's every year, folks. They always play money ball. They get draft picks. They traded Olsen to Atlanta. We gave them quite a bit of prospects, and that's what they do. And they're usually competitive every 3 or 4 years. Fellas, any final thoughts for us tonight?
I think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be a sexy pick. I love that edge rusher. I just had to get that out there.
Yeah,
I love
No,
it.
I
I
love
got
it
to say an
too.
edge rusher. I felt like we went too far without saying an edge rusher.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. I think Thibodeau is going to be a real impact player immediately in the NFL season. You're going to see a lot of defensive ends get immediate impact, and I can't wait to see the NFL draft next week, fellas. Want to go ahead, take the time, ask you a final question, guys. Go ahead, shout out your podcast, how our listeners can get in touch with you both on Twitter, and there we go.
Yeah, we're at Patriots Pod on Twitter and on Instagram, correct?
Patriot Sports Now on Instagram
Patriot
and
Sports Now on
Patriot
Instagram.
Sports Radio, Spotify, Apple, everywhere you're going to get your podcast, iHeart and Pandora.
Yeah, see, I tried. He's the guy for that question. I tried.
Well,
Yeah,
guys,
and,
we appreciate you coming on. Absolutely loved having you guys. We'll have to get you back on.
Absolutely. Thank you, boys. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. You too, guys. It's Eric and Chris from Patriots Podcast, Patriot Sports. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Thanks, brother.
You're welcome, guys. All right, let's move on in the show. The NBA playoffs are underway. Let's talk playoff storylines. Wayne, the Hawks are down 2-0. Can Trae Young and the Hawks make this a series? I'll cut this one off. That's a nice and easy answer. It's no. I don't think they can. Not sure if they could push it past 4, Wayne, really. Maybe 5. I'll give him 5 games because I think Trae Young's going to go off in one of these playoffs. He'll score 40-plus points. He'll probably grab a win on his own shoulders. But no Clint Capella equals no rim protection. John Collins is not 100%. The Heat closed out game 2 by driving to the basket, and it looked like there was no defense, no help defense from Trae, no underlying defense, and no one hard fouling anybody. Seems like Butler was just able to drive right past Trae. Easy lay-ins, last 2 minutes of the game. Personally, went on a 7-0 run in the waning minutes to push the Heat lead from 3 to 10. And Butler had a career playoff high, Wayne, 45 points, 15 to 25 shooting. That's impressive. 11 to 12 on the free throw line and 4 of 7 from beyond the arc. Just unbelievable performance from Jimmy Butler. Really put this team on his back. Atlanta kept chipping away. They were down about 15, 16 points, chipping away, got back into it within 3, and then boom, Butler took off, and that was the game. That was it. Look, Trae Young has got to find his 3-point shot, 2 for 17 from there for the series. That's not going to cut it. Also, he had 10 turnovers in game 2 alone. He's got 16 on the series. That's not going to win you ball games in the NBA playoffs, turning the ball over like that and shooting 2 for 17 on the 3-point line when that is what you rely on as a team. Not going to cut it. Wayne, what say you? Can the Hawks make it a series down 2-0?
If they're lucky, they might. But the injuries is one reason why I'm not really seeing them moving too much farther on. But you were talking about defense in the NBA, and for the last 5 years, has there really been any defense in the NBA?
Not with the rules they allow.
Yeah.
You can play defense, but it's just not much there. A little tipsy-tappy foul, they call it. It's just the way the game is now, and it's tough to defend from 40 feet out. So I'd say there is defense, but with the rules, they don't let you play it. So yeah, we're both on the same page there. Another storyline in this NBA playoffs has got to be the injuries to star players. I just mentioned Clint Capella knee. He'll be reevaluated Friday. Capella has started strength exercises per GM Travis Slink and ESPN.com. So that's a big question mark for the Atlanta Hawks moving forward. Also, shooting guard Lou Williams has missed some time the first 2 games of the series and is questionable the rest of the series. Mavericks point guard Luka Doncic, calf injury. Mavs are optimistic that Luka will return for Thursday's game 3 or Saturday's game 4 at Utah. That series is tied up at 1 apiece right now, going into Wednesday afternoon. Nuggets small forward Michael Porter Jr.'s back. You know, he said Mark J. Spears of ESPN, he's hopeful to play at some point in this series. When that is, I don't know, but he's going to take his time, he says. So again, injuries are huge. Also with the Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Suns point guard Devin Booker hurt his right hamstring in game 2 last night. It's a mild strain. He's expected to miss at least the next 2 games. So injuries are a huge, huge component to this NBA playoffs. Our Patriots podcast, gentlemen, they said Steph Curry wasn't 100%. He came off the bench as a Warriors phenom. So we know that is key. Can the Warriors stay healthy? That's a preface to the next part of mine. I think they do stay healthy. I think the Warriors and the Bucks will play in the NBA Finals. I see the Warriors winning. Look, when you got Steph, Clay, and Draymond Green playing together with the supporting cast that this team now has, they have that experience. I don't see them getting beat. And if Steph Curry can score the amount of points he did in 20-something minutes, he scored 30-something points. I don't see anybody stopping them, not even an MVP caliber player in Giannis or Jokic if they somehow meet in the playoffs. But I see Warriors Bucks in the NBA Finals. That's my prediction. That's my last storyline. Wayne, what say you about the injuries? The NBA Finals prediction, you said Memphis and Boston. Give us a little background there.
Well, and of course, anytime Memphis is playing, I have to pick them. And as far as the East goes, it just Boston looks like they're the team that's playing, with the most intent to move forward. And they went pretty far last year. They ran into the Milwaukee buzzsaw like most of them did, though.
Yeah, Jason Tatum's a really good player. It's about how well they play down the stretch of games. That Nets Celtics series could determine one of the champions. If the Nets get by, they may make me look bad. But I like the Celtics pick. I like the Grizzlies pick. We'll see what happens as the NBA playoffs unfold. Final thoughts?
No injuries on the Grizzlies team right now that I can or I've heard of. So
they're the healthiest team in the NBA right now, and sometimes that matters a lot.
Yeah.
All right. That wraps up our NBA playoff talk. Let's get into the NFL draft, and we're going to talk about it more, just Wayne and ourselves. We chatted with the Patriots podcast guys. Now it's our turn. NFL draft is next week, April 28th through the 30th at Allegiant Stadium, home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's talk NFL draft 2022. We talked with the Patriots guys. Now it's our turn. Name a player that's under the radar that will make an immediate impact this fall. Wayne, you want to start this one off, or you want me to go?
I said Desmond Ritter from Cincinnati. I think he's under the radar as far as the quarterbacks that are up there right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you said Desmond Ritter. I saw Desmond Ritter play a amazing Peach Bowl game against Georgia against a top defense. Played extremely well. I think the guy can play football at a high level. I don't know why he's not up there with the Matt Corrals, the Kenny Pickett's, the Malik Willises, because he just got his team to the college football playoff. They played competitively against Alabama for 3 quarters. So I think he should be higher up there. My under the radar player that not a lot of people are talking about that I think is going to make an immediate impact is running back James Cook from UGA. Look, brother of Vikings running back Dalvin Cook, he's got NFL blood in him. I think he can catch the ball out of the backfield with the best of them. I think he's a good secondary running back to a starter that's already in place. And I think he'll be a great 4th or 5th round pick that will make an immediate impact. So that's my answer there. Let's go and talk about the coveted quarterback position, Wayne, because that's what matters in the NFL today. You think, if I heard correctly, you said Matt Corral was going to be the first quarterback taken in the NFL draft. Do you think he'll go in the first round?
It's possible he could. I mean, I think people would get him because he's available and because I don't know if you call it his team or his group of agents or whoever. I think they've really been pushing him hard and getting him much more profile than some of these other quarterbacks.
And that brings me to that question. I said it earlier. Do you trust any of the NFL quarterbacks day one this year's draft? And I don't. I don't trust any of them. I said it once. I'll say it twice. I'll say it 3 times. I go to the highest mountain in the world and sit and scream. I don't trust any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft as a day one draft pick. A first round draft pick could change a franchise forever. Again, I would pause. I would wait till next year. I mentioned some of the names already: Daniels, Stroud, Bryce Young, and there's going to be other guys that really emerge later on in the year. And I say Daniels because I think he'll go to a pass-happy place like West Virginia and really put up some staggering numbers and move up the draft charts. So I don't trust any quarterbacks in this year's class. We know one will go in the first round. And I tell you in the next segment where I think he goes with my mock top 10. And it's that time, Wayne, let's have a little fun with our top 10 this year. Let's not do any trades. Normally I like to predict a trade or two, but I don't know. I think the Falcons, if anybody, might trade down and acquire more picks later in the first round because there's a lot that the Falcons need. We know that. Edge rusher, wide receiver, O-line, could get some help, safety help. The only thing that's a sure thing is their cornerbacks, A.J. Terrell and Casey Hayward. Prime example of what you can do for me now. Hayward, A.J. Terrell, two of the Pro Football Focus's best, so that part is done. Let's concentrate on the O-line, D-line, or outside of the football because you don't have a number one. So here we go with my top 10. Let's start with one. We'll go back and forth. We'll have a little fun here. Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. I think they go defensive end Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan. 6'7", 260-pound, explosive. Not as good as the Bosa brothers out of Ohio State, but this is a can't-miss edge rusher that can really make an immediate impact for your football club. We saw the quarterback get drafted last year. New coach in place this year. Let's see what happens with the Jags when they get a top player on the defensive side of the football. Wayne, what say you? Who goes number one overall?
I get the same pick as you do.
I think that's going to be this for sure is a toss-up at one, but I think that's the most sure pick at your number one overall. But it wouldn't surprise me if Trayvon Walker from UGA gets in there, and that's my number 2 pick with the Detroit Lions. I do think it's Walker. Look, 6'5", 272 pounds, really climbed the boards in the NFL draft and in the college football playoff. He had 6 sacks. The guy has an unbelievable ceiling. And look, the Patriots pod guys said it too. I think he's arguably the best player in this draft. So I got him going 2 overall to Todd's Detroit Lions.
Yeah, well, I've got the Evan Neal from Alabama.
Evan Neal from Alabama. They do need an offensive tackle. I have Evan Neal going a little bit later in this round. My 3rd pick, Houston Texans on the clock, defensive end, Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. Complete pass rusher, 6'4", 254 pounds. Really can wreak havoc. One-on-one battles. Will win them. Can draw double teams. Really freeing up your nose tackle if you're in a 3-4 or your linebackers to come up, play the run. And when he can pin his ears back, it's one of the fastest guys to the quarterback in the NFL draft. I think Kayvon Thibodeau, 1, 2, 3, defensive end in the NFL draft. Wayne, what say you?
Well, I'm going with the guy from North Carolina State, the Akeem, and I can't pronounce his last name.
Ikonwu,
yeah. I've got him going 3.
Yeah, that's a great pick as well. It's not a bad pick, as if you've heard our show, I've said that in the past. It's not a bad pick. Why? They're going to go with Davis Mills as their starter. They need to keep him upright. and that's a guy that can do it, so I don't mind that pick. Number 4 overall, I think he's the best cornerback in this draft. Amon Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati, 6'3", 190 pounds. Best cornerback in this draft by far. That's my number 4 pick to the New York Jets.
Yeah, well, I've got the Jets taking Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame safety. I've got Amon Gardner in the top 10, but later on.
Not a bad pick. Again, I love it. The back and forth. There's no wrong answers here. We don't know what these teams are doing. These are what we would do. We're having fun with it. New York Giants offensive. Let me say this. Number 5, New York Giants. This is where I have Ikonwu going from NC State. I have them going to the Giants to try and protect Daniel Jones, get him more time, see if this is the guy for the New York Giants. So I have Ikonwu going off the board at 5. Who you got to the Giants at 5?
Trayvon Walker.
Ooh, you have Walker falling a little bit.
Yeah.
I like it. Let's go 6. This is where I have Kenny Pickett going. Again, I wouldn't draft him here if I was Carolina. I would stick with what you got and try and win with Darnold. Try and build an offensive line around him. Try and get him weapons. But I just don't know if Sam Darnold has had the time to develop as a Jet, and I don't know if he had time in Carolina to really throw the football. So I have Kenny Pickett going here. Look, 6'3", 217 pounds. His ability to run and extend plays is necessary in the NFL. His style really will fit Matt Rule's offense, and Matt Rule is in need of that quarterback. So I have Kenny Pickett going here. 42 touchdowns at Pitt last year, over 4,300 yards, and one of the most infamous fake slides, because you'll never see it again, ever. And that was one of the coolest plays of the college football season, just to display his athleticism. So, Wayne, what say you? Carolina Panthers at number 6.
I'm going to go with Ahmad Gardner from Cincinnati.
That's where you have them going. Yep, they
Yeah.
do need defense. That's not a bad pick there. Sauce Gardner, again, one of the best corners, if not the best corner in this draft. Pick number 7, we're going back to the NFC side of New York with the Giants. This is where another pass rusher comes off, edge rusher comes off. Jermaine Johnson, the second out of Florida State, 6'5", 254 pounds. Giants need an edge rusher. Again, I had the Jets taking Sauce Gardner. I had the Giants coming back. They didn't get the defensive end they wanted. They could get him here because, again, I think they wanted one of the first 3 picks, but I don't think they're going to get him. I think they go Jermaine Johnson. The Giants need an edge rusher after losing Lorenzo Carter to the Dirty Birds in free agency. So, Wayne, what say you at 7?
Charles Cross from the other Bulldogs.
I like it. I like the pick. Again, there's no bad picks here in our mock draft. ATL Prime Sports, folks. If you like the content, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We appreciate every single one of you listeners. Our Atlanta Falcons are now on the clock in our 2022 ATL Prime Sports mock draft. I got them going wide receiver. I don't know if I want to pick a wide receiver here, but I got him going Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. I mentioned I think he could be the best player in this draft. I think he's a speedster, 183 pounds, soaking wet, 6 feet, but he's speedy. He's got elite body control when he goes in the air. I've seen him go up, make some amazing grabs on some pretty poorly thrown, underthrown balls. He's a great route runner, and again, I mentioned that elite speed because you can only find 4.3 so often. He's healthy and had a great season at Ohio State last year. And again, do you want to rely on Olamide Zaccheaus and Damiere Byrd, who's on his 5th team in 4 or 5 seasons in the NFL as a 1-2 combo? I think not. I think you want to draft that receiver and help out your quarterback. And it will be only the 3rd time since like 1967 that a team has drafted top 10 pass catchers in back-to-back years, as we drafted Kyle Pitts last year. Number 9, Seattle Seahawks offensive tackle Evan Neal is who I have. But let's go back and revert back. I went ahead too quickly. Wayne, who do you have the Falcons drafting at 8?
Well, I've also got wide receiver, but as I had mentioned before, I've got him taking Williams from Alabama.
Perfect pick. Perfect pick, but I think Williams is going to drop lower in the first round because of that injury. But he is an explosive receiver. He single-handedly put that team on his back in the SEC title game after Mechie went down. So I like the pick. I like the pick, Wayne. We're at number 9 now against Seattle Seahawks. I'm taking the offensive tackle Evan Neal out of Alabama. I think that's where they go. Look, 6'7", 337 pounds. Guy doesn't give up sacks very often. And when you have Drew Lock, when you have Geno Smith, or if you bring in Baker Mayfield, which the rumors are now, you have to keep them upright. I think Evan Neal is a perfect fit in Seattle because I think he can give that quarterback the amount of time he needs, which Russell Wilson obviously did not have, and he was tired of getting hit, so he's out of there. So I think they get Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama at 9. Wayne, what say you?
Devontae Wyatt from Georgia.
Wyatt from Georgia.
Yeah.
Very high ceiling. Really came on at the end of the year for Georgia on that defensive line. Worked well with Jordan Davis and Channing Tindall, the linebackers. Absolutely under the radar pick in the first round. I like it. Let's go to our final pick of our mock top 10. The Jets are back on the clock. Both New York teams have 2 top 10 picks. The Jets take a wide receiver here, in my opinion, Drake London. The second best wide receiver in this draft out of Southern Cal. He's a 6'4", a little bit bigger, 219 pounds, a little slower. I think the Falcons wanted to go with speed, or else I would have said London here. 7 TDs, over 1,000 yards at USC last season, and that was before he got injured. So imagine if he would have had that whole season. So New York Jets, you're on the clock in our ATL Prime Sports mock top 10. And I got Drake London going off the board there for my final mock draft pick. Wayne, what say you for number 10, buddy?
Number 10 was the one that I had to kind of pick 2 guys because I couldn't decide. So I just threw both names up there. And surprisingly, they're both from Ohio State. Wilson and Olave. I think that's how you say his name.
Olave, yeah.
Olave.
They could be there as well, and we're pretty much on the same page. I really do think I'd like to put my mock top 10 up against a lot of others. I feel like I'm pretty right. We'll see how this one does this year. I feel pretty confident about it. That completes our NFL mock draft. Let's go talk a little chop. The Braves finished out their West Coast road trip Wednesday afternoon, going 3-4 in their 7-game road trip. Acuna Jr. is closer to being back. Let's talk chop, a.k.a. Atlanta Braves. Look, the Braves faced Freddie Freeman as a Dodger for the first time. That was awkward. He hit his first 2 home runs against his old team. Why'd you have to do that, Freddie? It wasn't nice. No, I'm just folks. I'm just playing around, folks. Look, it looks like both teams are in great positions right now. The Atlanta Braves are usually a little slower starters than this. They're right around that 500 mark. I think the West Coast road trip early, getting the emotions of Freddie Freeman out of the way early is huge for this ball club. They were able to take 1 of 2 out there. Lost 5-1 Wednesday afternoon. But look, I think the Braves are in pretty good shape right now. Ronald Acuna is closer to being back. Played 2 rehab starts already for the Gwinnett Stripers, both in Jacksonville playing the old Jumbo Shrimp. What a classic name. Thinking Major League Baseball team should adopt that one, by the way. Played 2 games already, going 1 for 6 with the double. Had an assist from the outfield at third base. Made a nice play in the corner and even dapped up a fan doing so. Video's pretty cool. I was able to retweet it at ATL Prime Sports. If you want to go check out our Twitter feed and see that Ronald Acuna Jr. video. Wayne, that about wraps this up, man. What any thoughts on the Braves and their opening season thus far?
Well, if I knew we were going to talk about the Braves specifically at the end ahead of time, I would have called my mom because I think she's keeping up with them more than I am.
No worries. We know you're a Rangers guy. They're struggling. Corey
Well,
Seager's about the only good thing happening to them.
yeah. Well, that's almost what I expected this year. So that's why I've got my Memphis hat on right now.
Well, let's wrap it up with some closing thoughts. Wayne, I'll let you close out the show with your final thought of the show tonight, man. Go ahead.
Well, I'm glad the weather is going to be finally changing and we're going to get rid of these cold temperatures. I'm looking forward to it getting hot.
Yeah, I am too, and I'm looking forward to the race for 3,000 with Miguel Cabrera and the race
Yeah.
for 700 with Albert Pujols. These are going to be some great storylines to keep up with throughout the year as these two Hall of Famers in their career and wonderful careers at that. Folks, that wraps it up for Wayne. I'm JJ. Thanks for listening. Again, if you like the content, give us a like, give us a thumbs up at ATL Prime Sports on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What I miss? Facebook,
Spotify.
Twitter, Instagram,
Spotify.
Apple, Spotify,
Right.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. There it is. That's the one I forgot. So give us a like, give us a subscribe. Again, guys, this is ATL Prime Sports. Thanks for listening. Get you one. We'll see you next week.